Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. I did a couple quick patches to the client last night. In particular, there was a change to this section which I had extracted to a function, and then we also want to look at swap items in full containers, which I think works, although it doesn't work for the backpacks. I want to check if that's a vanilla thing or not. Bare ground near an object while on a horse. I might have already fixed this for me, but you'd still want it to be consistent in the base click. So actually, I do want to check, would I even see that in my behavior? Let's see, so that's base mod. Actually, we've effectively got it here. Alright, bunch of junk. That's really all we need. Alright, so this is... Okay, so that does not work. Oh! Okay, with a specific... Okay, when there's no action with it, it swaps. And then... Even that, it doesn't interact, it doesn't interact. So one of these was drop, and one of them was... Oh, actually this is interesting. Did this actually break my ability to swap instead of use? Ah. Oh no, so I can drop okay. At least on bare ground, bare ground. And well, this is not the base client, but it was in theory able to do that. So a swap action did work. Now I'm gonna probably have some different logic there on my end. But I did D for drop. Yeah, that would swap in a normal circumstance. I wonder what's special about the horse cart. Alright, so this was... Weird. Okay. So this was the code he added. Now, there was a comment above this that I kind of lost here. So he does a whole bunch of stuff that can change the dest ID. Oh, no, it has empty. This is exactly replacing this. So it was in here. So this is specifically action drop. I have... Oh, and I'm going to want to make sure that I'm updating the right patch here. Oh, indeed. Oh, wait, what is this? Oh, this is pointer up. This was... Well, this is the drag and drop action. Prepare for action message, send a drop. So we pretty much... Well, no, because also it's used in the hotkey. So if it's a drop action, check for cell hit. We're not really doing anything. There's a specific thing for containers. Oh, if we're holding something... And the thing we're holding is permanent. I wonder if that has something to do with it. What was the server change? No, that was full container. Oh, this was pure client. Oh, okay. I think I see what was happening here. Has empty tile transition, which I wanted to reuse. Try interaction keys. So for the use action, pointer down. Okay, so this I think was our original case. This is the drag drop. So he was checking food value equals 0. So the horse has a use on empty tile transition. And that's effectively what we want to do. Well, this does rely on... He might be depending on the fact that you either clicked on the object or not on the object. Because you can do that. Try interaction keys is tile-based. Pointer down drop. We set up an action. If there's an empty tile transition, well, I can't see what the consequence of this is. It's not in the diff. Oh, and then he tests floor, no, it's floor dust ID. If we're holding something, it doesn't have a food value. Right-clicking bare ground near an object. So this must be depending on the server behavior. Right, it's going... A right-click is a drop. So that's going to cause this to not happen? Right, because it would normally do this code, and it would not get has empty tile transition to convert the command type. So it looked like a drop, and it's an empty space. It doesn't drop swap anyway. Test object clicked tile. Oh no, he's turning, this is preventing it from turning into a use action. Which is a little weird. Because I think my... Yeah, because my client should be sending a drop action there. Is there a way to do this other than saying, is there an object at the tile? So this is particular logic right now, where we only test the dest tile in the case that holding is greater than 0. But we can also check the floor ID stuff. Oh, wait, for the drop? Does this like actually not has empty? Oh, right, because it is right click normally to do use on floor. Wait. If has on empty, turn it into a use. That makes me curious now. What does that do? Well, I don't have the code that actually does that. Although I probably do have a updated regular client. Let's see, do I have a flooring test down here still? No. So I need... Oop. Okay, I guess must bump V. need to check not VOG for... Well, nothing has focus. Sure, big stack. Floor stakes, even better. Oh, that's right. It seems to get confused. Oh, maybe it's because of the location reset. After VOG mode. And sure, stakes work. All right, so base client, if we... No, this is this one. Okay, so issuing a use command on a tile with a thing will not like do the floor and mess stuff up. Because I should be able to issue a full use command. So we should have build Windows. Okay, so there's nothing different about that. So when we go to drop, it only converts to a use action if there was truly nothing there. It's not really has empty tile transition. Use on floor transition exists. I feel like you should do this. Well, I'm sort of interpreting what this code means, has empty tile transition. But I feel like we should actually be checking this before calling it in that case. Or in addition to calling it. Because it's not really an empty tile. The point is checking if is it really an empty tile. Now he's only checking that. What would that leave out? It would leave out. It would not. Well, no, it wouldn't do this if it was a food value. Only things with no food value. I don't know what that's about. So the good news is we've got this extra context variable here. This is where it's still usable. Let's see, I'm going to change this line regardless. But that does become very, very long. So this is a faster check. Use on bare ground transition or use on floor transition. Well, that should only be valid. Oh, you know what this cuts out? This might cut out because you have to use... Well, no, putting boards down is not a bare ground transition. Well, I guess there's putting down a horse normally. This is specifically to address putting down a horse. That's use on floor, though. So now, is there a rock around? I did have a horse. Alright, let's just need to make a rock. Or maybe it is round stone? Not just stone. Oh, this is... no, I need to be testing regular drop actions. I need more boards. What? No, I can just pull these up, which is also more good testing. Okay, I can pull that up and put it down. We can't do it on a tile with a thing in it. Okay. But you can't swap the thing with the horse. So that didn't change the behavior of has empty tile at all. So I still have the problem that if I say drop the horse, it doesn't do it. Okay, drop. Holding equals 0, check for cell hit. If dest ID not equal to 0, because none of those things had container slots. If it's holding greater than 0 and we're holding something. Oh, is a horse permanent? Blocks walking. Oh man, what did I put that special case in for? I don't know a good way to see like all the... Oh wait, and here's... something we can swap held with. And this was some fade correction code. Well, all right, this patches that behavior. So what was... refresh applied patch instead of the top patch. Oh, no, went here. Shoot, which one is this? This might be indirection refactoring. That's the movement extract. Yeah, so this appears to be where we did do that extraction. SDG, refresh that one. All right. Now I'm still annoyed that I can't drop a horse. So this is a slightly different condition. He was saying if I wish I remembered what this special case was for. Unfortunately, one thing about doing the patch is you don't get source control, essentially, of the changes to the patches themselves. Maybe that would show up in the patch repo. Hmm. Show hearts. There's the kill changes. Okay, so yeah, I never recorded a difference necessarily. So a horse is a permanent thing. What else is a permanent? Oh, maybe that's to specifically. Oh, this is a drop action converting to a use. That blocks it. It only converts it to a use if it's a bare tile. Maybe this might have actually been a horse fix for bare tiles. So this is and then yeah, drop does not have a use an empty tile because we're not as ambiguous. So that's the easiest change. I still might want to move that up for overall clarity. Now see, that shouldn't have done it, but I did try to do a weird. Okay, I just clicked at the wrong time. Okay. So a horse blocks walking, so that would be a permanent object. That's probably being decided on the server. I can do a check what I'm sending though. All right, so I can look the screen up again. Okay, so I'm sending a drop. The server won't interpret that as a swap, so that's all we can really do. But we can get off easier. Oh, that's right. Originally I had to do the use transition instead of the drop transition to get off. Okay. Now this one, yeah, because this is both referring to the to that, to the holding ID. So that will actually, I think, possibly prevent my command from doing the knitting needles there, which is actually an easy quick check. I still have a bunch of skewers running from the skewer testing, which is something that I also saw fixed. Yep, I can swap those. Well, assuming... Yep. Actually, I guess I don't know that weak skewer plus regular skewer. Oh. No, the server interprets even a drop on that as a use. Oh well. Yeah, that was a drop command. See, those are different, which is why that doesn't work. And even an SREM. Oh no, I interpreted that as a drop. Because it's not container. Oh well. At least we can drop horses. And this would be... back up here again. This would be interaction keys. Alright, so other changes. Swap items in a full container. This did have client changes. There's a dest num contained. That looks like... So let's say drop action. Can I say drop action? Try interaction keys. So this is the drop action on a full container. All right, now I think it was a little bit specific about being different items. Or it behaves differently with different items. Okay, that's the swap. No. I guess the server changes are sufficient. Although in theory, it should be that. So that's drop. What about sremv? Remove. Nothing to remove it from. Special bare hand transition. Ooh, that's another, and pickup applies. Well, it seems to be working. That actually broke it. I guess it's kind of the opposite condition. Oh, well, maybe I want that. Because the intent of drop is get this thing out of my hand, and that's not going to get this thing out of my hand. If I want to pick something up, I've got pick something up. Oops. That actually affects the drop. Alright, so that would be interaction keys again. Oh, what was it? Yeah, because this is the IK drop handling. Now this only applies, or this only has server changes. Well, let's get container swap index. I think I was trying backpacks earlier and wasn't able to do it even with the base client. Well, I did base action. Nope. Base client still can't stop in backpacks. And that was sending a drop item, a drop with a item. And that was the drop command that got changed. And I think I tried both of my keys earlier, so. Alright. So we've got that. Server, character getting duck in eating animation when double clicking to eat. Does this affect me? Add new anim player only. No. This is server stuff. Some of the map things might affect the mapping project. Special clothing removal case. Well, I don't really handle clothing removal because it's a pretty rare option. Note that it's still impossible to remove clothing with full slots that also has a special bare hand action. Able to do something already. Right click will remove the clothing. Oh, this is server side. I'm just curious how this is going to work now. All right. Drop doesn't do anything. Oh, so specifically with... wait. Did I not map anything to a backpack drop? Put in backpack. Okay, so it broke that. Come on, I want to sleep again. Oop. Wrong one. Wait, no, it's not even sending a command. Why is it not sending a command? What did I call that? BP drop. Could that have gotten turned on? Why did that get turned on? Because I thought I copied this out of my main one, and that would have always blocked that. Which means I'm going to want that in you as well, so we copied from you. I might have forgotten that as a thing that needed a note. Oh, I must have turned it back on in my test copy for testing that feature. Of course, I have to relaunch. Nope. Been losing boxes faster than I've been, Alright, probably might not have time to test this, but we can start. Alright, remove from backpack. I don't have anything to remove clothing. Use. Let's think about you couldn't remove... So it's full or not? There's no way to remove it. If left click does a special clothing action, like remove sword, then it is used to be impossible to take off the clothing without doing special action first. Clothing slots are empty. So it's actually the other case. And we're dead. Ah, then right click. Can take it off. Does that mean... that one of these... okay. Then, yeah, will remove the backpack, which... I'm not sure I like. Okay, so if there's no item there, none of the keys will do anything. It's only in this empty case that it removes the clothing. We don't normally have a remove clothing key. So I probably want to see if I can remove that case. This is server side only. So I just have to not issue the remove command. If the backpack is empty. I don't think drop did it. And backpack, clothing, backpack, not equal to null. Now, is backpack an item ID? Man, I'm the only one that used that. Wow, he actually doesn't refer to that anywhere. So it must just be like a clothing update in the update messages and things then. So it's null. That seems to say not a pointer. All right, it probably only refers to indexes. Holding ID food value. Use on self and standing still. Click on self. Mod, click on hit clothing. Add to own clothing container. So we have clothing indexes. Holding ID clothing. Hit clothing index. Get empty clothing set. How do we find out how many slots are in our backpack? Clothing buffer, Spark pit close. Set clothing by index. Get object ID. Get clothing pointer by index. So it is a record. Turn inset. Well, there's a backpack. So a clothing set seems to be a set of pointers. What? This will be object bank.h. Is object records. So if we have a backpack, it should be an object record. Container. Oh, there's object record, but isn't there? Is there an access function for it? There's like num slots. Okay. Get emotion num object slots. Object num slots. Get dest. Oh, what was I just looking at? Get num container slots for an ID. Dest num contained. So for a clothing item, how do we get the num contained? Sprite invisible when contained. Get num container slots. And it's just num slots. So dest num contained is might actually be kind of a map thing. What about clothing? Well, clothing set's an object record. In num contained is a parameter to the function But it can iterate over the indexes to get clothing pointer by index. Draw object in clothing. I equals back index, backpack. Okay, that's just some adjustments. Draw object in clothing backpack. Object record. Behind subcontained. In subcontained. So many overrides. Doesn't seem to be called from here. Num slots. In num contained. Animation bank, maybe? We're going to call draw object a lot. In pack, in clothing contained. Cont, in clothing contained. In clothing bottom. In clothing tunic. Backpack. Hard-coded indexes. Object end highlighted. So we're trying to find out. In clothing contained. In clothing contained. Oh, man. Numcont. How about live object? Do you have like clothing contained? Contained IDs, subcontained IDs. No, clothing contained. Stacks of items contained in each piece of clothing. Num clothing pieces. Do we have some references for these, or do we just have to hard code it? Define. So, if we want to know for it's removed at the specific problem, or a backpack remove. And backpack not equal to null. And oh, what was that? I know what that was. It's a simple vector. It's an array of simple vectors. Now, simple vectors can have lengths, although clothings have max contained. We just want to know if our live object, clothing contained, 5, Animation Bank has to deal with this, right? In clothing contained. Get dot size is the accessor. Oh my gosh, you're still alive. Alright, empty backpack, it doesn't do anything. You can put that in the backpack, we'll take it out of the backpack. It's supposed to be a pickup, so if that's... shouldn't do anything if it's empty. And then... we've got to use just because... I don't have a standard way to use a sword, but that's a pretty rare thing, really. And once again, this is an interaction keys. Putting on clothing that contains something. Shouldn't affect client. I don't think I ever touched any of that code. Maybe that was at that time? Yeah, okay, that was just the time we opened that. All right, is there anything else? Probably wouldn't hurt to checkpoint that. And it seems like what I did last time is I didn't specify the range, and it only did my current. Patches. Oh no. Okay, so that's there. I actually wanted change log, so this will be v27. It's not necessarily released yet. Handle swapping held horse with item. We also tweaked don't remove backpack. Take from backpack key does not remove backpack if empty. Yeah, some of these are just pointer differences. Put in backpack key does not remove item if and empty. And we might want, well, there's that. Um, did we change directory? No. There's not, let's see, still got decent time. Most of the problems that are left are kind of hard problems. Let's see, so this is pretty much done. That's pretty much what we implemented. I think that's done. So the yum precursors is a tough one. Because on one hand, I'd like to be able to say berry bush is a precursor to berry, so you could highlight based on that. But then you have other weird cases like bowl is a precursor to an edible thing. Actually, it's a precursor to multiple edible things. So how are you going to mark that? You've got burdock as a precursor to Doug burdock, which is a precursor to food. And stone is also a precursor to that. So it would have to be things like the only following transition is something edible. That would work for Doug burdock, maybe. Undug burdock, you'd have to then kind of follow that step back. Well, the only thing you can do with the burdock is dig it. The only thing you can do with it, dig it, is pick it up. The only thing you can do with that is eat it. So the awkward thing about this, Edit. Edit patches, master. Okay, so we've already got the extra data structure. For our food chain. So that function, all right, so we've got a function that could do some stuff. We get a lot more complicated. We'd want to pre-process items probably. Last 8 object is use dummy parent. That's thing 8. So I'd want to do this startup step where we iterate over all objects. No, all transitions. Looking for things that create something edible. Transitions that create something edible or that are on a unique chain to something edible. Alright, so got yummy food chain. No, I need the what's the other thing called? The hint? Num hint sheets. Tab hint. It's all drawing. Get transhintable. Which is already has a trans record. But this might be a good template for the kinds of things we can do. Unfiltered trans, filtered trans. Get num hints for object ID. This is only working with a single object, although potentially going back more steps. Last hint sorted source ID. So we have a queue to look at things. Get all uses. Oh yeah, it's things you can do. But filtered is things that get to a certain place. Last hit, filter string, search objects. Shallowest matching objects. Oh boy. Get all uses. So that's forward. Transition bank. Vector of trans records. Actor target is only transitions. It'd also have to be looking up object information to see if they're edible. So we would need to scan through I guess potentially it's a map for every object. Do we have anything else that's like that? So it's an object bank. It's an object record. No indication that it keeps it itself. Maybe game? What keeps the actual object bank? Well, there's get object. But you could easily miss a definition in all of this. Oh, wait. Static object record ID map. Map IDs to records. Sparse, so some entries are null. So this is just a straight up array. Map size, max ID +1. So we could do a object to object map. So it would scan through the object bank. If it's an edible thing, we would say, what are its precursors? If the precursors have only one transition, then they map to that as an edible object. And you would want to recurse on that in that case to get burdock to Doug Burdock to burdock in hand. So the max ID yeah, that's not exposed. Get max object ID, okay. bank.cpp. So this is, well, we wouldn't be doing exactly this. Did I bump caps lock? Which is my mute button also. I wonder when I bumped. Well, But it was muted and the alarm caught it, so that's good. Alright, living life page. So we've got our yummy. That's just a function. We need something after init object. So it's not here. It's probably even before we get into living life page. So we've got our yummy food chain. So this is just we're doing a dynamic. No, it's not pointers to ints. It's just I mean, this is the yum precursors, but we're going to use it like not even a word. And then somewhere in setup, oh, I guess actually, we've got that. Init live triggers, init names. Do we have our max ID at this point? And all of our other object data? Get max. Okay, I really just need to start up there so I can see. Object ID. What did I call it? Objects. Alright, so finish loading, finish loading. $5,379 with all the generated stuff. I need more water. I'll be back in a few minutes. Nope. Now, there was something about these deploying at inappropriate times. What was it? Was it? No, I guess it's only on the ground. Oh.
Why?
The hell's in this room?
I think it's like a test room.
Yeah, look. Security cameras moving. You got anything weapon-wise? Ain't got shit.
Got this AK and that big minigun, but to be honest, that minigun's kind of crap.
I may need to turn my music down. I can't. Oh wait, there's.
I fucking up hit her. What the fuck?
Got her.
Nice.
We're gonna try renaming nuggets. Oh, look, they making nugget babies. Oh yeah, oh yeah, the love, so exciting and new. Come into my stone hut. We're expecting someone new. Nugget Love Hut. Soon they'll be making another little one. The Nugget Love Hut. Wow, there's a clip.
Base dug out. Let's build that other set. Meal lice. Or meal wood. As far as it goes, putting doors down everywhere, it's a little bit of overkill. I probably don't even need to do that, but I just like it. One advantage to it is,
Welcome back. Alright, so we should have our max object ID here. I want... How about this? So we got you, we've got... Up there. Object bank. So we have int to be consistent, it would be get max object ID +1, and then it becomes food ID and I believe 0 is still a valid or an invalid thing. Becomes food ID equals. Well, I guess if it's as long as it's an int, it could actually be -1, which is definitely invalid. ID map, object record, RID. Okay, so that is the overall list. This is by their ID. Race list. Oh, that's for the characters. Oh, this is something else. Okay. All right. So now how do we process this? Well, I might not need. I might be able to have a function for this, so that we can put it up here. In it, so in that case, we could do this. And now, where was the get trans hintable? Most important result. Get hint message. Actually, getting them hints is a lot of the setup stuff. Yes, this is a kind of already just sorted list. Most hint sorted source ID. So we've got a queue for processing things. So this was initialization. Well, we do kind of want that set up beforehand. We could work the other way. For any item, if it only has one transition, if it doesn't have one transition, it's not a candidate to become a thing anyway. And this was supposed to be an I. So get all uses. Presumably that returns a null if it's an invalid object ID. Now that's saying we need a pointer to a simple vector of trans record pointers. If trans equals null, and it's that. Yeah. Oh, and I didn't. Reset to there. Okay. else, we want to go through all of the trans and we start asking questions. If it's edible, then it's itself. Oh, use that T. And trans is the list. Wait, we do have another case here. We don't even need the transitions. If we need to get the object, do. Get object, get object. Object record, and this would also throw out not exists. Although I guess the transitions could be null too. Well, that might be an empty list or it might be null. It's hard to say. So if it is null, do we else if obj food value then it is equal to itself. And we're done. Otherwise, we have to look at transitions. Now, they might want... So this will kind of reprocess some things. But I'm wondering if we actually want a... recursive function. Because that's what it's going to look like. Actually, Jason likes this style. Okay, object ID. So this becomes, and it's this continues that make me particularly want to go to this style. If we got to there, We can probably reduce that as well. And we're going to do that. I like those better as one-liners. Otherwise, now if a trans is if okay, so we're also out of style here. If a trans size is greater than 1, it doesn't have a unique food transition, so I think we're going to have to call that a nope. Otherwise, so now we're not in a loop, so we could just do I here. Hey Lizzie, how's it going? I figured if I was in this project I should try something new, but it's, or try one of the ideas I had, although it's kind of an involved one. And then this was this part of the same code? Or did I jump down to something else? Kinda. All right, so then he had subfunctions for that. And actually, this is probably, well, let's say transition record. So this is get all uses. It uses a uses map. Actor target, new target. It's just straight up copy. In actor, in target. Okay, and there's also produces map. New target, new actor. Oh, you're how are you as you're playing Warframe? Okay. So really, for an individual transition, we have in actor, new actor. Wait. No. If the size is greater than 1, it's not unique. If it's not greater than 1, then we've only got 0. So we need to determine, it produces 2 things. So consider bare hand plus berry bush equals berry. Berry is edible. There's still some kind of berry bush there. anything that's edible is going to end up in hand. So if this is where, all right, so we can't rejoin the same file. I'm going to try to open the existing window. So to get to our same file, we have to do that. And something like that. So where are we doing some of this distinguishing? Last use actor. All right, well, it's not hintable if it's those things. Trans actor equals -1. Generic one-time use transition. I'm looking for things that are food, not for the edible transition. So it's probably true that it's edible. So if it's hintable, which we're looking at, it's hintable if it was a bare hand. Oh, greater than or equal to. At least a bare hand. And the target was an item, or the target was nothing. I'm forgetting exactly how we use -1 versus 0. And it created a new actor or a new target. There's some stuff about categories. Generic one-time use transition. Now this is a specific not food. Maybe this is for eating things. That doesn't generally appear in... I guess we'll have to see. If it is hintable... Oh, we were thinking about just causing... calling this recursively. Oh, but on what? That is the question. So this could be another... If not... So then we have to consider... Okay, actor is greater than or equal to -1. We're really more concerned with the results, I think. So new actor is greater than 0, or new target is greater than 0. So the cases that we want to consider would be berry bush is new target would you ever pick up something from something that would both be edible? We have if the new actor is edible or the new target is edible. Well, or becomes food, really. So still in JavaScript mode. So we have to get this and remember it. No. T new actor if Target edible is, I think, really greater than 0. If right. If actor edible. Oh, and then new actor. Turn actor edible. And if all else fails, so I guess the only thing we then have to worry about is, could there be a single transition chain of events? Oh, but object ID is going to equal root ID on the first pass. So we actually have to check this here. If T well, yeah, that could become like a recursion. Yeah, as long as that particular, oops. Branch doesn't do it. And then you go through here. Oh, it's not really need to be this anymore. I did get an object record for this. I didn't necessarily get an object record for everything else. This is only for a current object, and then we look at the transitions. If that becomes food, it returns a value up. All right, so a little bit of introspection. %D is, I'm assuming there's an object name here somewhere. Object record. Get name? No. Object record. It has a description. seems that's probably it. Oh, so I guess at this point we do know like what object we were originally looking for. So that set up a little bit of a chain. Obj description. And that only prints on terminal. But we're going to be looking at transitions for everything. So maybe for now we need to do this always, and then oh. We still left our O. Oh. But we're using their little static function. Get transhintable, find main object ID. Get trans most important result. Get num hints is what's using all of that. Get hint message. Should creation sound play? No hint. Becomes food. Oh, I did forget this. Oh, well, we do need to test if this actually ever ends. Defined but not used. Oh, we do have to call it. To see if it goes infinite. Not. But it's declared afterwards. All right, so we've got to load everything up before we get to that stage of things. Ooh, just an outright crash. Yeah, so it did not like that process at all. All right. So is it the initialization? Okay, so something about this. Does it not like this memory? All right, so the recursion seems like it would be a particular problem, but we can also just go straight down here and say, can we at least get through the object records and get the things that are themselves food? I guess I sort of jumped the gun here. I can actually get this set up for just the food things, run to the map, make sure that still works. Then worry about link following. And link following does appear to be part of our problem. All right, gooseberry, food, wild carrot, food, dug wild carrot, not food. Yeah, so this will may eventually tell us everything we want to know. Meat stumps, bowl of gooseberries, all the cooked pies. Cooked goose, cooked mutton. Burdock root, but not dug burdock. Because I'm almost curious if there's any surprises in here. But I think probably most of this stuff is, yeah, pork taco. Bowl of whole milk. Most of this is pretty well known. Oh, and then here's all the auto-generated stuff. All the uses of pies. Oh, that's the stew pot. Oh. That will have a series of uses. Well, each of them will individually have a transition to something edible? Huh. Okay. Alright, so this is the least dangerous thing we could do that accesses the transitions. Oh, is get all uses... It has to be an object ID, right? Okay, we're not really printing anything out from there. Really? Well, I guess I need to break down at this point if it is getting the record, or asking if trans hintable. Oh, wait. Probably might need to do a null check on the trans record. Although okay, so it's calling get trans hintable, which does assume it's a valid record. Oh, size can still be 0. I'm only interested in things that are exactly 1. And that will be unused, okay. Oh, and I never did test out just running stuff through the array. Okay, is yummy is an object ID. So we want to say so we've already been replacing object ID. In object ID equals becomes food ID. Probably need to do some pre-checking here. In fact, well, maybe this only gets called on objects. We do need to have a check here. If in object ID, really wouldn't expect a greater than object IDs, but it has to be at least a valid index. Oh, that could make you negative, but then get object ID should return null. Oh. Really? How did that crash? Or was I also making changes to my lookup function? Right, it probably started processing some of this stuff. And get object didn't like the resultant ID? Oh, maybe get object doesn't check for negatives. And just go making assumptions here. Well, doesn't have names. That's a whole lot of things we're calling it on. So those are fine, but those are all going to be negatives, so we probably have to do a double check here. Oh, actually, I guess items should maybe just be themselves instead of -1. Okay, so that's still working. So if we ground out, we should just return root. Well, I mean, I guess this actually makes the test faster for the other cases. All right, now, can we follow links? Okay, then. Okay, gooseberry, wild carrot, carrot. Oh, 39 to 40 wild carrot food. So 12, 11. We got into a loop with sauerkraut here. Ripe cabbage plant. Apparently we have 2 ripe cabbage plants. Right, so this cut red cabbage has a transition to itself. I know, that's the root. So that's the first step. Cut red cabbage, you pick it up, you get a hardened row. Oh, what transition we try? Yeah, the actor and the target. So we get hardened row and red cabbage. It's one transition. We get, you put it on plus board, shredded cabbage with board. Which is, yeah, this is all kind of a single sequence. There's only one thing you can do with shredded cabbage with the board, just take the board off. You can use the shredded cabbage. You add salt, you stomp it, you cover it, you weight it. It does timeout. And then you can put the stone back on and covered fresh sauerkraut, covered fermented. Oh, time transition. You can open it. You can take the clay plate off. You can take the stone off. And then we must be going back to the point where you could put the stone back on. Because we went to... Oh, because one of the results of using the stomper is the stomper itself, which gets into stomped fresh sauerkraut. Covered fresh sauerkraut stone, which gets you back to stomper. So it's a loop, but it never hits our root item. So I'm going to have to keep the entire path to check for loopbacks. Well, or just a chain limit. I mean, if it takes this many steps, I don't think I really need to show you that cabbage would be a yum if you did all the work to make it. I really just want to see, like, open fermented sauerkraut is a yum. And that's like plus bowl, which we can't really get to. All right, so what kind of other chains were we seeing here? Gooseberry, wild carrot, 197, 186. Cooked rabbit to... Oh, probably on stick, off stick. Bowl of gooseberry, cooked rabbit pie. Oh, so that would show you raw pie. Maybe? Root item was 257. Bowl of gooseberries, rabbit, and carrot. Raw berry carrot pie is... Looking at that, hot adobe oven. Yeah, that might be too many steps also. Well, really, the hot adobe oven is only once the raw pie would show up. The cooked pies are interesting. Probably cooked goose on stick again. $7.01 carrot crown with carrot crown is edible. Wait, is that carrot crown or carrot crown with carrot? Carrot crown with carrot. Cactus fruit. I don't see fruiting barrel cactus. Is not showing up right now. I guess because it also has a time transition to something else. All right, Doug Burdock to Burdock root. Burdock does not go to food? Oh, there's multiple tools you can use on some things. They all have the same results, the same target item with different actors for a lot of the cut stuff. That's going to be same with the corn stuff. All right, so our first problem is infinite loop. So we have to keep track of every item we visited, or a depth. And really, I probably want a depth limit anyway. So probably instead of route, we want like depth. And depth starts at 0. Although that doesn't give us the transition information here. And now we don't have to check down here. Actually, we could check the item itself, and then if depth is greater than, I don't know, we can start with that, and probably want something else. Probably want something smaller. All right, so basic dummy check, smoke check. Okay, berry still works. Bowl is not a precursor to things. It has lots of transitions. A bowl of ghost berries is good. Huh, I never noticed the floor sounds before. Do I have a sharp rock? Oop. Probably got a sharp rock somewhere. Okay, we're looking. Well, I think we already determined that burdock was not so good. Carrots might be the same. Even wild carrot? All right, so what is that item name? That's a different kind of wild carrot. Sharpstone, it can be sharpstone or shovel. But I mean, even the one on the ground, Doug Wild wild carrot. What's up with that? Gooseberry. So we do have 2 wild carrots. Am I using is yummy the way I think I'm using it? Show yum, however, yummy equals is yummy. Oh, there's the draw. And there's also the hover. Dug wild carrot. Oh, maybe I'm doing a has food value check on this. Oh. Yeah. I'm also not doing use dummy checks on the other stuff. So I think that the yumminess gets pre-processed elsewhere, such that these are the things we need to check. Here. So we've got food value. If obj. Now we ultimately need to do, well, we sort of do. So we have to update that because we're going to use that. You took over there. So now she changes the ID. And then is yummy. We should have already translated that ID to something else. So that shouldn't be an issue. That shouldn't be possible because if we get a -1. Dug wild carrot still not showing. So what is our decision tree here? I think I'm still dumping out. So that's our original object. So I think we went dug wild carrot, and then we hit wild carrot normally. Okay, we got our depth there. So it says wild carrot is food. When it says food, it should return the object ID of that thing as the thing that slot becomes. So here's the problem with not using separate variables. Because when you change it, you can't do anything with that. Oh, nope. We do it. This is return false, return false, return false, and then return true. So in object ID goes to there. So I would expect to see a 39 to 40. Okay, well. And we do have the average a little farther down, so we could do the names again. Okay, Doug Wild Carrot. There's a bunch of 39 to 40s. We seem to have hit some other things in the process of exiting. Are there any secondary checks on this? Oh. Right, because they're either red or they are either green or they're red or they're not food. We no longer have a binary situation. And then there's a couple different layers of that. Hmm. So there's not just is it yummy, there's is it edible. Okay. Yum type. Inedible. So show yum hover, you turn a yum type. Inedible. This is meh. Yum type yum. Then, so actually it is more showing up on this. Well, this is a bool. So we do have to visit all those. If show yum hover, then there are three things. If we don't show yum hover, then we do that. Yes, yum type, yum. Meh. And default. Interestingly enough, I think we could just say inedible for all of these. And then if we do that, then this just becomes you. But is it all the same? No, you're times 0.5. And you're 0.25. Ooh, we got some extra space in here. And the different variable is fine. It's different purposes. Uh-oh. Oh, in the ape. All right, show hover, and food value. This is the description. I still have. The meh. And just we'll say inedible default, nothing. Except this is actually, and is yummy is kind of a, oh. What was there? ID to describe. And it's still a bad copy. I think, yeah, that was the only place that used that. All right, Doug Carrot. Perfect timing. Where the heck was I? Okay, carrot. Oh, and then now we have the shovel problem. Or, you know, whatever problem. Yeah, because you can be a shovel or a sharp stone. And it probably applies to some other things too. Oop. Yeah, you can do multiple things with an egg. It's not just food. One potato. Burdock, also a shovel. Thing is, they both lead the same spot. Okay, got wild onion. So so different actors, if there's multiple transitions, probably only want to count that on a one-step search. If all transitions give you the same target, then it's just different tools. And you want to examine the target. However, that makes this yeah, so this could previously examine a single transition. So if it's a single transition, and might still want to special case that. So this could kind of just be a, well, there's 0, there's 1, and there's other. I don't know if that's a switch. All right, so we've eliminated that case, we've eliminated that case. The other case that we want to consider is if every transition makes the same target, examine that. Oh, this is 1, so this still has to be. Fine, it could be an else. And this was where I tried to borrow some code at one point. So we need to get this particular trans. I'm going to return. We're about to continue game. So for this entire loop, we want to know well, we could do all the unique targets and count them. We want to consider that a target could be -1. Nah, that's fine. We'll catch it on the other end. If same target equals -1, then we want to say same target equals t new target. Else, if same target not equal to t new target, then this entire transition is invalid for our purposes. If it survives that gauntlet, then no, this is target editable. Orientation. This doesn't exist. Expected initializer before token. We're still in JavaScript mode. Ooh. Didn't like that. So this like failed on like the first one. Oh, I'm still saying 0 for 1. Oh. So if nothing is hintable, we're going to call this on -1, which will do a get object ID, which it doesn't seem to like. You should probably have a check for that regardless. Burdock is yum. Let's see, a sword's not going to help me. I guess what I need to watch out for is random other objects being over-yummed. Wow, that's really bright on here. At the berries, it was like really hard to see. I could have just vogged something in. Dug burdock. Burdock root. So this is something I'm just going to have to probably play with. Let's see, was there... There was a whole sauerkraut chain. Well, that was a chain of single transition things. But probably, let's see, so burdock is dug burdock, or burdock to dug burdock to edible. That's only like 2 transitions. How does the carrot with seed look now? Bare hand. Sharp stone. Okay, because it can go directly to that, and they have different results. Okay, I'll buy that. So the funny thing is, they all end up. Well, the targets all end up in the same place. So in theory, you could walk everything down a few steps. And see if they all ended up at the same ID. Any bananas around here? Now, I seem to recall that cactus fruits were not transitioning the way we expected. Yeah, and you're all time, I guess because it does time transition and it does something else. All right, so we're looking for banana tree. Bare hand. Oh, but it has a steel axe. They can also destroy it. That reminds me, what about berry bushes? I think, yeah, so occasionally you can, like, pick up and move, like, a plate of bread. Ooh. Yeah, you can pick up a plate of bread. And that might be a special case. Now you see, we didn't even get berry bush. Why did we not get berry bush? Oh, because it's a use dummy. I probably should have looked at the last transition. Now it's an empty wild gooseberry bush, which has a couple of things you can do with it. Even though one of our immediate transitions is give me food. Maybe I should always check a one-step transition. Or just have a smaller depth limit. And always go out there to see when, because I don't want to do bowls, and bowls always have that one-step transition. And where I did my bowl, yeah. As a bowl can pick up stew, it can pick up broth, it can hold berries. Maybe anything that allows empty hand to edible. Should count. So I think the bushes might be getting me unused dummy. Yeah, let's go down to at least one berry bush, if not a full berry bush. So this would be if any transition. So I need to redo this depth. So we want to check only a one-step transition. Yeah, I mean, I guess depth still sort of works there. So we want to say and start off with like 3. So we've got the same target, gives us the same, everything is the same target. Or if any transition but this stops as soon as the target changes. So I guess we have to not immediately exit there. No, it doesn't quite work, does it? How about so this is going to be an always thing. But if so then we say oh, you're another plus. And we want to say if T, I think 0 is bare hand. Bare hand transition. Oh. If has transition, okay, so that could have been some handy stuff. But we do have to check other things, so If it's a bare hand transition and new actor, well, if it's a bare hand transition, then I think I want to do you only at one step. Oh, this is not new act. Yes, if the actor was bare hand and it gives us a edible thing. There's a berry bush. Probably am hungry by now. Oh, and there it went. Red. Okay, now you no longer give us an edible thing. And it all counts as berry. So I think that was one of the main ones I was looking at. Things like that, we can just kind of pick stuff off. That was a tree. I was a little curious about some of the pies. And then there's also like, well, cooked mutton should definitely be edible. Oh, now I've like clicked in here and okay, I can't do. How about raw mutton? And man, these text fields. Okay. Right, because you have lots of transitions. You're not necessarily food. And I happen to pick the one that has lots of transitions. Mashed, berries and carrot, berries and rabbit. Even though it's not directly edible, I don't think. Yeah, it's showing up as well. If you made a pie out of that, which is a little fishy, but and I don't want to be too loose with this because of the bowl case. How about, I mean, stew should be a lot like. But it's not a bare hand transition. Should it be anything that gives you an edible item in hand? A one-step edible? That might get some bowl transitions, though. Okay, well, I got Three Sisters stew. I need more bowls now. Oh boy, is it just clay bowl is the empty one? Yep, that made clay bowls active. Because there's lots of things you can do. This has transitions that are one-step food. Yeah. Are there... Oh, another one that's interesting might be bread. Okay. Ah. Sometimes you can arrow and sometimes you can't. Carved turkey. Okay, that has edible things. But you really can't have tasty bowls. You know what? This is another... Wait. That should be a straight up one-step transition to edible. So that should have worked without this at all. If transition size equals 1. Well, could there be like a hidden transition? Oh, it's probably not hintable. Except we saw that it was hintable. Yeah, I took care of a bunch of things. You can only do a plate. You can only do a bare hand. Wait, this should be our only transition. And it gives us a food. Oh, maybe there is a sort of implicit pickup that's not... Right, it wouldn't be shown in the hints. Alright, so on entrance, we say what this is. So you have no transitions. Many trans. So catching the right... yeah, this will be during the build-up. So we should see, like, pot of stew and bowl of stew. For many trans, I might have to look at what that is. So really we just had to boot up there. Dry stew pot, raw stew pot, clay bowl, clay bowl. Cooking. Three Sisters stew. So we looked at Three Sisters. We looked at raw stew pot for some reason. Oh, so this is one of the dummies. So first issue, possibly. Use 7. So it's cooking. It goes to Three Sisters stew, which had. I say cooking Three Sisters stew. With the recursion, I might need to print out which item I'm on. Well, we can actually disambiguate this a little bit. Three Sisters stew. Number of uses 8. Okay, so the base item is the 8. Oh. That's a last use. Hmm. Can we do anything about that? Well, last use. Says it's not hintable. Oh! There's only one hintable transition. And that is 2 different targets. One's a stew pot, one's a last use. Wait, but we discard the transhintable from there. So it should be multiple things with one target? All right, so many trans is the main interesting case. So we've got object ID. with 2 targets. But if we're throwing out the unhintable transitions, we shouldn't be counting those. And was that it? That was it. All right. Cooking. Three Sisters stew. Many trans, 1 target. Oh, this is the target editable. Does that also apply? We also need to do like an actor count. Then we could do this. Because a bowl wouldn't have 1 actor either. Should I search and replace this? All right, if acto count, I really should have acto count. Last actor. Okay, person aged out. Where's all my stuff? Forgot where I was doing experiments. Okay, there's the bowls. Well, that was a little bit of a special case. So you're up, you're up, you're up. Bowls are not up. Okay. And the other one was, okay, berry bush. Empty doesn't have food. Because that can only give you 1 actor. Are there any simple things you can put into a bowl that makes it not just a plain old bowl? Nope. I mean, I guess basket of charcoal will work. Oh, that's right. Doesn't like it when the position moves. So that might be the client sending a message that wasn't received, or because it wasn't processing stuff then. Okay, so nothing funny there. I imagine that I will play today and find a bunch of weird cases. Like, that's only a time transition away from a mushroom. Well, I guess maybe it's too many transition steps. I don't know. And skewer gets used in food, but it's a couple of different pieces of foods. That shouldn't be an issue. These are a little bit weird, just because this has compost uses and this is really only a food thing. But I guess it's a starting point. So I'll probably be doing some, Okay, so this one I want to test, which is why it's a good thing that I shipped all the changes earlier. Because I can publish that to fix some of the weird interactions with swapping. And then I can experiment with all the yum stuff today. Okay, so that would be, yeah, I don't know what else to test right now. I got most of the sort of funny things like, bread you pick up, turkey you pick up. We got burdock and carrots, berry bushes. Those are most of the common ones. Probably doesn't do carrot rows. Or other farm plots. Let's see, we had a bunch of farm stuff laid out here somewhere. Nope. Because that has a time transition and a sheep transition. So I don't really know how I would pick that one out. I mean, this is a one-step food in hand, but that ends up hitting the bowl, so you can't really do that. So we'll just have to try it out, see how things look. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Thanks to everybody who hosted me. What do we got? I'm normally on about now. I'll be back in a little bit to play with this and test out the latest mod version. Wait, I thought I saw... And probably just something I'm not used to looking for. Yeah. So Honey Play is doing one of her marathons right now. It's currently Don't Starve, Shipwrecked, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of that today. And then Stardew later on. But if it was a place cool to hang out, that's someplace cool to hang out. Thanks for hanging out with me. Goodbye, and until next time.